Hello class and welcome to week 11, a brief recap of chapter 9. This chapter covered, among other things, methods of law enforcement, including undercover work, raising ethical issues involving criminal investigations. The central question of chapter 9 was, what means are acceptable to catch criminals? As you saw in the Dirty Harry video clip, the question was raised, can a person be good if bad means were used to arrive at a good end? In this case, was it acceptable for a police officer to inflict pain in order to get information to save an innocent victim? Chapter 9 explored this issue, called noble cause corruption, citing that officers sometimes, maybe even frequently, use unethical or even unlawful means to catch criminals because they believe it is the right thing to do. This action is an example of utilitarian ethics, where one believes the end justifies the means. This wrongful way of law enforcement thinking argues just as wrongfully that lying to get a warrant issued or a court conviction is not only out of selfishness or personal gain, but rather by ends-oriented ethical thinking for altruistic and for noble causes. According to researchers, the noble cause of police officers is a profound moral commitment to make a world a safer place to live. And as a result, officers will often do what it takes to get an offender off the street, even if they use the so-called magic pencil. That is to say, making up facts on an affidavit, or to justify a warrant, or to establish probable cause for an arrest. But further, police are not only the actors who subscribe to noble cause values. For instance, crime lab investigators and prosecutors also engage in shortcuts and in the use of magic pencils in order to convict the perceived guilty. Prosecutors have been known to suppress evidence and allow perjured testimony, so it is not only the police officer who feels compelled to break the law in order to further the noble cause of crime control. How pervasive is this tendency? Studies show that about 60% of rookie police officers support mild lies to achieve a conviction. Recall from Chapter 8 that the officers surveyed by Baker and Carter reported that about a quarter of officers perjured themselves in so-called dropsy cases. These are cases where police officers report that a drug suspect dropped the drugs and ran. This is convenient because it puts the drugs in plain sight and justifies any subsequent arrest. Although the drug war has in many ways been eclipsed by war on terrorism, the question of whether it is ethical to achieve a good end through bad acts is still with us. Some argue that the question has changed. Others argue that the answer has changed. It seems clear, however, that no matter how one resolves the dilemmas involving the enforcement of either counterterrorism or drug wars, the result will have everything to do with whether law enforcement officers ultimately are seen fundamentally as crime fighters or as public servants. And we will revisit this important issue in the last chapter of this book. For now, thanks for listening, and please begin work on your weekly assignments.